Hey guys, so I've owned my Dyna now for about 12 days, and it's due for its 1000K service, 962 miles. So it's due. Been riding the bike a lot, and probably gonna take it to Florida for about 10 days. And prior to going to that, it needs its service. So that's gonna happen. I'm gonna take it over a friend of mine's house. He has a lift. Uh, the lift I have really doesn't work for a Dyna. Those two spacers. This spacer here needs to be removed, and this section here actually needs to be brought over to there, and this section here needs to be brought over to there. So I don't really want to modify my lift because I own two other bikes, and that lift works great for those two bikes. So I'm going to take it over a friend's house. He has a lift, and he's going to walk us through the 1000K service for the Dyna. So this is the oil that I picked up for the Dyna. I'm a big proponent of Amsoil, and so you're looking at 4 quarts of oil, one quart of transmission fluid, and a quart of primary oil, along with 1 Harley filter. Okay, so the bike is over at my buddy's house, and it is now on the lift, and we'll go through all the tools that are required to do the 1000K service.
Alright, so we're going to go pretty much over the tools needed for the 1K service on this Dyna Low Rider S. First off, 9/16 1/2" for the clutch adjustment. I'm using a snap-on, but any 1/2" 9/16 will work at Harbor Freight. T27 for the derby cover. Usually you can't buy the T27 by itself. You usually have to get a mechanic's kit or a whole set. You would need regular ratchet, extension, oil filter wrench. Usually use a 6-inch extension. And you also have 11/16 deep socket for the clutch adjustment. And then also the drain plugs require a 5/8 socket to remove. And also other parts, you'll need the gasket for the derby cover and 3 O-rings for the 3 drain plugs. I'm also using a Harley oil pan. This is very useful in tight situations. You fit it underneath of the bike. It's wide enough so you can get all of the drain plugs plus the oil from the oil filter. You got your oils laid out. You usually get a set of ball Allen keys. You're going to need the 3/8 for the transmission dipstick, and you're going to need 7/32 for the clutch adjustment at the clutch. Also, what you can use to help minimize oil leakage is just use a little piece of cardboard that fits right underneath it here. That way you don't have excess oil shining, falling on the engine mounts, and it will be a lot better for cleanup afterwards. First thing you want to do, get the motor hot. Usually you can let it idle for about 5 minutes or so, just so you can get the oil flowing. So after you have the oil hot, put the drain pan underneath of it and remove the drain plugs. Usually I start on the primary side. You have the primary drain plug positioned right here. Like I said, it's a 5/8 socket, fits right on top of it. And as you can see the O-ring that's attached to the drain plug to help seal it. And each of the drain plugs have a magnet try to help catch some of the little debris. Like you said, this is a 1K, so it's a break-in period, so it's going to have a little bit on there. That's okay. If you see big chunks of metal, that's when you start to have the issue. So a little metal dust like this is okay, but big chunks of metal, that's what you have to watch out for.
Damn, that fucking oil's clean. Can't we fucking reuse that shit? Damn, that fucking oil's clean. Can't we fucking reuse that shit? So you were saying you're a fucking idiot.
I was a fucking idiot. Usually before you drain it, you want to move the kickstand out of the way, because now you're trying to access the engine drain plug for the Dyna will be on the left-hand side next to the primary. Also, Dynas have the kickstand bumper, which you can just rotate out of the way to access the drain plug. To help access it, you use your 6-inch extension if you need to, also with the 3-inch extension. That way you have plenty of room to bypass and not hit the primary itself. Another good thing is also have a couple rags, which you can get at any local hardware store, and they are very helpful.
Rags like just regular rags, or
just regular automotive red rags. Now you see the oil.
Ouch, that burned.
Now you see the oil it's kind of coming
milky
out slowly.
Yeah.
It's trying to get air in there. So once you go onto the other side, what I'm about to do, you open up the engine dipstick to let the air in. That way it's not creating a vacuum and it'll flow a lot faster.
Alright.
Special tool is just using the 5/8 with the 3-inch extension. The good thing about this drain pan, you can help rotate it out of the way and move it on the lift. That way you can access the drain plug, which is right underneath here, right underneath the frame. I'm not sure if you can get it.
Yeah, I got it.
So you just use the drain plug. It's right here for the transmission. 3-inch extension. Now there will be probably a little bit of oil that comes out, so you just have to grab the oil pan, drop it, just move it over real fast.
Damn, that was quick.
That way you can try to catch all the oil, doesn't drip everywhere, hence why you need some rags.
Now, is there a reason why Harley says that all these fluids have to be drained at 1000 K? I mean, is it just because of the...
Mainly because of the braking period.
Because I mean, all that oil looks pretty fresh.
It does look fresh. Every Harley service is every 5,000 miles. This oil only has 1,000 miles on it, but yet it's also breaking in all the mechanical parts, the pistons, the gears in the transmission, the shift dogs, the bearings, the chain in the primary. So everything's breaking in. So you don't want that break-in material staying in the motor, staying in the primary, staying in the transmission very long. So that's why they have you do the 1K, just so you can get all that break-in material that was caused throughout the 1K out of the system. And then that's why then they go to the 5K, 10, 15, so on.
Thank your local Steeler. What the fuck is on this radio?
It's
Jesus Christ. What is it? Like fucking...
Adam, Caitlin's son, got the iPad from, I think, his father.
Is it like... Jesus Christ. Alright, well what's next?
Alright. For this particular model, this model has ABS. So for this to access the transmission fill plug, you have to remove this cover, sit off to the side. This is the ABS module right here for this bike. You have the brake lines coming from the front match cylinder to this module and then returning to the front calipers. You have the rear master cylinder going to this module and then flowing to the rear caliper. So with the ABS module, you have to move that plastic cover out of the way and then use your 3/8 ball Allen because it's hard to get a good straight angle. And the transmission fill plug will be right here. loosen up, and you just pull it right out. And one thing to inspect for, one case is not a big deal, but later on, future services, this O-ring, sooner or later will get some tears, rips, and once it starts ripping, that's when you want to replace it.
Man, they hit that motherfucker.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass where it's at. Relocate the drain pan so it's as far north of the bike, front of the bike as possible. That way we can access the oil filter. Like I said, try to use a little piece of cardboard, try to catch as much oil as you can, try to drain it away, that way it's not located on the bike. Oil filter wrench. If you don't want to go to Harley, you always go to Harbor Freight and get a strap-on wrench, but use a 6-inch extension for this particular model and just slowly turn it. The oil filter wrench has a cutout for the crank position sensor, so it won't fit on very properly sometimes, especially when you take it out. If you loosen it up too much, you won't be able to get it out. Hence, that's why they have a cutout. That way, if you remove it too far back, you can still get it out. So you just kind of slowly loosen it up, remove it. You can see the oil draining. It's not a too bunch, but it's more isolated now.
And doing that saves oil hitting the front mount. If the oil goes over that front mount after so many times, you have a tendency to lose that mount.
Correct.
Because the oil, what's the oil like, eat the rubber away?
It just causes future problems. You don't want the oil also in the connectors that is around this front of the motorcycle. It just helps keep everything clean, dry. Plus, if oil stays on there, it doesn't get out. Debris, dirt, and all that fucking shit will stay up there and clog up there, and it'll be a pain in the ass to clean. And a lot of guys want to keep their Harleys nice and clean.
Yeah, but we ride our bikes, so.
Yeah, we ride, so. Relocate the drain pan so it's as far north of the bike, front of the bike as possible. That way we can access the oil filter. Like I said, try to use a little piece of cardboard, try to catch as much oil as you can, try to drain it away, that way it's not located on the bike. Oil filter wrench. If you don't want to go to Harley, you always go to Harbor Freight and get a strap-on wrench, but use a 6-inch extension for this particular model and just slowly turn it. The oil filter wrench has a cutout for the crank position sensor, so it won't fit on very properly sometimes, especially when you take it out. If you loosen it up too much, you won't be able to get it out. Hence, that's why they have a cutout. That way, if you remove it too far back, you can still get it out. So you just kind of slowly loosen it up, remove it. You can see the oil draining. It's not a too bunch, but it's more isolated now.
And doing that saves oil hitting the front mount. If the oil goes over that front mount after so many times, you have a tendency to lose that mount.
Correct.
Because the oil, what's the oil like, eat the rubber away?
It just causes future problems. You don't want the oil also in the connectors that is around this front of the motorcycle. It just helps keep everything clean, dry. Plus, if oil stays on there, it doesn't get out. Debris, dirt,